Okay, an Indian Tejas jet then has crashed in Dubai Air Show, and I'm just going to give you a quick what Gen Z would say hot take, or if you're like me and you're Gen X, you'd say that's an opinion on what I think has happened. Guys, I'm going to play you everything I can find. Here we go. So you can see a bit of a maneuver there. He's on his side, obviously a lot of rudder input there. A bit of a delta wing on this aeroplane. Another interesting feature I'll go into in a minute. Look, pulls, but it's an oblique pull. And that's very hazardous, and I'm going to explain why that is. But before we look at the main tape then, I think it gives us a little bit more information. We'll just have a look at the aeroplane then. I don't know much about it, to be fair, but I was on Indian TV recently speaking about their Air Force, and specifically the Jaguar aircraft that they still fly and has been killing quite a few of their pilots. Now, this is an Indian-built aeroplane. It's the Tejas light combat aircraft built by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. And you can see then it's got that kind of wing on it, isn't it? Kind of delta wing there. They want to build their own fighter. They want to be able to sell it around the world. Standard stuff, really. But remember, here's some specifications of it as well, just so we can get into it, guys. It's what you think it is. It's a good engine. The F404, popular engine. That's great. Yeah, 1.6, 1.8 without stores. It's got reasonable power. Single engine. Yeah, so we can't rule out engine issues, can we? That's obviously going to be a thing. I don't think it has an ACER radar on the particular aircraft. That's pretty impressive if it has. But recently, they've obviously, as I said, been trying to bring that in. Now, they do fly the MiG-29, the MiG-21, and the Su-27 also. And when I trained students at Valley on the Hawk, then we sent them back, Indian students. We sent Indian students back to fly all of those aircraft. As I said, Su-30 MKI, I believe it is, MiG-29, Jaguar, MiG-21. At the time, I wasn't sending guys back to fly this aircraft. It's been in since about 2001. I think been in service. It was built 2001, in service about 2015. Obviously, they're looking for a market, and that's why they're flying this aircraft in Dubai. And the Hindustan Times then just really goes in. It's not much in this. Again, not much information is really coming out about it. So obviously, pilot was killed. Let's look at the main flight then and not keep this tape very long. So this is really the best one I could find. Jets obviously pulling a high G. It's got smoke pods on the wing. So you've got high G maneuvers throughout then. A lot of, rolling maneuvers back into high G. So it's high G to high G. Really, full reheat, I would have thought of this. And of course, that pilot's going to be fighting against that G, aren't they, really? So, of course, here we want to go up, not down. I haven't seen this tape fully yet. There we go. We're going up now. Again, rolling maneuvers. And they're always going for a line feature, guys. They're always going for the runway to line themselves up on the runway. So they're always maneuvering to get themselves back on that high alpha, which means the aircraft nose is high relative to the airflow. Probably going to put it on its side now. So slight pitch up, I would have thought. There you go, on its side, and rudder. So full left rudder there, keeping that nose high. I think this is one of the issues. There'll be full left rudder in there, and now what we see is the inversion, nose dropped, and we're pulling, but we're pulling obliquely, and now we impact the ground. Now this is interesting to me, and I'm going to explain to you why. And what I'm going to do is use another film that shows that end state quite clearly. Guys, we're not glorifying in death. I lost a lot of friends in the Air Force. I'm sick of this stuff now. I don't want to talk about it at all, to be fair. We just had the anniversary of a guy I flew with, his death recently, and it kind of hits you all the time. I don't know why, just as I get older, I don't know why. I've got neck issues from flying as well recently, and that brings back eustachian tube problems, and I get like colds and stuff like that from that, so I've got to massage this stuff, and that's caused by high G in these airplanes. I never claim anything for it. I'm not interested in that. I'm just saying it's a product of flying. When you do something like a job like that, you come away with injuries. All right, it's just part of life. I'm 50 now. I live with this forever. But that pilot there pulling that kind of G is going to be looking out the top the whole time and pulling back and looking out the top. All right, and he's really straining, or she's straining, and they're really maneuvering their neck, just as I was in the Air Force. So they're looking for stuff the whole time. They're making line features. They're looking for speed, and they're looking for height gates as well. That's the most important thing. Speeds and height gates. And obviously here, especially with an oblique maneuver, where we don't just pull vertically or we don't pull across, we pull at an angle towards the ground, it's very, very difficult to gauge whether you're going to pull out in the right place. In fact, so much so that when I was on 208 Squadron, and there was a young pilot, the younger pilots tend to be display pilots because they don't have families, they can go away for the weekends. The young display pilot there displaying the Hawk was told to remove the oblique maneuvers from the display. I think it was a barrel roll, and a barrel roll has been responsible for more deaths of pilots at air shows, I think, than any other maneuver. This was not a barrel roll, but it was an oblique maneuver. We're going to look at it close up now, and you can see the aircraft here is rolling right as he pulls. I'll say it's here, you don't know. And of course, what we actually end up doing here, we're looking at the last stage, you can see very similar. We've done this with F-16s, F-18 incidents and everything else. The jet looks flat, doesn't it? As if it's flying along, but actually it's going down at a rapid rate of descent. Very similar to an inquiry I did with the Red Arrows back in 2011. The aircraft had a nose-up attitude, but it was going down at a rate of about 8,000 foot per minute. Very similar to what this one is as well. So you can see this one will impact. I think we get more of a film of this. Now, some people have said it's got a leakage in the jet. Some people are talking about oil leaks. Look, jets just leak oil all over the place, and fuel and everything else, all right? So it's not a drama. It's just that's a fuel overflow pipe. It's nothing to do with oil at all, really. The servicing and the maintenance of this aircraft, I expect, was very good. Another film I found here, the end stage. Have a look at this. So you can see rolling and pulling, rolling and pulling, rolling and pulling, and of course we impact the ground there. And so really I'm just going to leave you this last bit here, and then I'll give you a quick 30 seconds on what I think happened, and we'll move away. So one of the interesting things about this aircraft as well, it actually has a probe on the front right of the nose. And what we found with the Sea Harrier, when the Sea Harrier FA2 had a fixed probe on the aircraft, is at high alpha, so high G, you did get a rolling moment to the right. It's just one of those interesting things. I'm not saying that was a factor in this incident whatsoever, but it was a rolling moment. It created a lot of lift off it, and it just sort of kind of rolled itself into it. But so let's have a look here. So we're getting this roll and we pull oblique. At this point, rolling's level abort, but you can't. And I expect this is a gate issue where he's too low to complete this maneuver. And again, you need the wings level at this point, guys. Wings like literally level with the horizon. So the lift vector is fully up like that. If you've got an oblique lift vector, then what's happening here is the lift is actually tangential. So that's not the word. I don't mean tangential, but it's not. What is that? A tangent by definition, isn't it? So the lift vector is perpendicular to the wings there, and it's not giving you the maximum amount of lift you need. That also coupled with the fact that if you are too fast, the faster you are in an aircraft, of course, the bigger the circle that the aircraft's going to fly. So you want to be at the correct speed, and that's called corner speed. And I expect he might be a little bit fast. We don't know, but again, as he gets the wings level here, and this happens more and more at air shows, now, and I'm not too sure why. I haven't got an answer for you. To be fair, let's watch it one more time. Why not? To be fair, you know, these guys getting the flying hours they need. Are they getting the practice? Yeah, I just keep seeing. Every few months I'm making a video like this, and I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy that does it. Listen. Not easy. I'm expecting there's a gate issue failure here. And to be fair with you guys, I teach this in my school the whole time. It's not good enough to say you must be 5,000 feet in 350 knots to start that maneuver. That's not good enough, because you've got to be, that's an absolute, it's a binary definition. What you need to be is, you need to be between 320 and 360. And you need to say, and if you are outside of those parameters, you need to do X. So if you're above 360, you need to do X, i.e. not that maneuver that we just saw. Or if you're below 4,000, or you're below 3,800, or you're above 4,200, you do X, or you do Y. And that's sometimes not happen. It doesn't happen. And I'm not really too sure why. I think maybe, again, I always come down and say these things, guys. I always say it's a failure of the safety chain. It's a failure of the command chain, not necessarily a failure of the pilot. All right. Hey, listen, I hope that helps, guys. I really appreciate it. Tim Davies, Fast Jet Performance.